This is TLV1.
TLV1 Radio.
Great mixture.
I like Tel Aviv.
This is still V1.
This is
Tel Aviv is a beautiful city.
Great city, great radio.
TLV1.
This is TLV1.
From the TLV1 studios in Tel Aviv, Israel, it's Louis Live! Now your host, me, Ari Louis. Good evening, everyone. This is Louis Live here on TLV1. We have a great show tonight. We'll have on Jeremy Glickman from the Tel Aviv Pioneers, Amit Kurtz from Israel Baseball, and much, much more. But we have a huge guest coming on after this musical interlude, the CEO of Israel Tennis Association, Shlomo Glickstein. That's right after this. This is Louis Live on TLV1. All right, folks, we're here on Louis Live. This is a huge pleasure. We have on a lot of big guests throughout our shows. This is no exception. On the line right now, the CEO of the Israeli Tennis Association and arguably the greatest tennis player in Israel's history, Mr. Shlomo Glickstein. Shlomo, welcome to Louis Live on TLV1.
Hi, good evening. Thank you.
Now, we'll talk about the big tournaments with the men's and the women's, but first I want to talk a little bit about your career because you really had just an amazing career. And, of course, one of the highlights is that you played Bjorn Borg. Now, you weren't able to get the victory, but he's one of the most famous tennis players ever. You got to play against him in Wimbledon. Give us your memories of that event way back in the early 80s.
This was my first Wimbledon, 1980, and Borg was a four-time champion. He was going for his fifth win in a row, and I played him in the second round, and it was probably the most exciting tournament in my life, that first Wimbledon. I had a good win in the first round, beating Ramirez from Mexico. He was 26 in the world at the time, in 5 sets, and playing Borg on the center court just, gave me, in the beginning of my career, gave me all the confidence I needed. Although I lost in 3 sets, but it was a good match, and I only have good memories, from that match, and from then on, I just went on to have a great career.
And in that tournament, you won what's known as the Wimbledon Plate. That's the consolation tournament for Wimbledon. So tell us about those memories and those experiences.
Yeah, those times they used to play what they call the Plate, which was the consolation event for the first and second round losers. And I think I was the last winner of that event, because after that they canceled it. But I have a very nice trophy, a very nice plate actually from that tournament. I still have it with me 33 years later, and it was really all that tournament. First Wimbledon was really exciting, playing Borg, winning the plate, and Wimbledon, of course, is the tournament of all time, and it was just great to pick up a lot of confidence from that tournament and go on and play many more great matches and tournaments in the after that.
You've had so many big wins and a lot of wins throughout your career, 167 wins in the singles and 101 in the doubles. You've had wins over Ivan Lendl and Harold Solomon, Brian Godfrey. What is, in your opinion, your biggest win in your career?
The biggest win was probably beating Lendl. I beat him in Monte Carlo in one of the biggest tournaments, of course, in the first round on the clay court, 7-5 in the third set. It was really a great match, and capacity, packed court, crowd, a few thousand people, and probably my best win for sure, and maybe the best tennis I ever played. And these kind of matches, you mentioned a few of the other wins over top 10 players, always giving you a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in yourself that you can go all the way and beat these guys one time after time, and go up in your ranking, and I was fortunate enough to have some very good wins over top 10 players, although I have some bad losses to some of these guys, matches maybe that I should have won, but overall I had some great wins which helped my career.
Now, you played in all 4 Grand Slam events, the Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, U.S. Open. Is there one of those 4 that's your favorite, really sticks out for you?
I think I like to play in all of them. My best result was in Australia when I reached the quarterfinals in 1981. But I think I like to play in all of them. I made the finals of the doubles in the French Open, which was really very, very exciting, together with a Swedish player, Hans Simonsen. And I got to the third round of the U.S. Open, third round of the French. All of them, playing the Grand Slam is really the highest points of everybody's career. Obviously, the top players, all they care about is the Grand Slams. But for all the other players, like myself, it was always great to play there and to do well. Big crowds, all the big agents and sponsors and big companies were there, and I played in all of them for many years, and it was really, really exciting, and I have great memories.
Now, in 1982, you achieved a world ranking of 22 in the entire world. You're representing Israel on the world stage. What was that like for you to represent Israel in the sport you love on the global stage?
It was great. It was, those times, you're talking about 30 years ago, the tennis was a little bit different, and it wasn't just about, playing the game and winning and losing the matches. It was just a lot of things around it also, and especially for Israelis, for Jewish players. My time, there were many more Jewish players than today. I can't even find any players besides the Israelis in the top 100 that are Jewish today. In my time, we had a lot like Gottfried, Telcher, Salomon, and a lot of others in the top 100, Glickstein and Gilbert. So it was different. It was different around the court, and I felt like as an Israeli, I was like an ambassador for the country, playing the sport that I love, and I managed to get a lot of friends all over the world, and I'll always remember what Chaim Herzog, the president of Israel, said about me at that time. He said that what I'm doing for Israel is like what 100 ambassadors are doing all together.
Wow.
And that was a great compliment.
That's a huge compliment. We're speaking with Mr. Shlomo Glickstein, who not only is one of the greatest Israeli tennis players ever, he's also the CEO of the Israeli Tennis Association. Let's talk about the big tournament that happened on Friday, the men's and the women's in Israel. First, let's go with the men's. Dudi Sela, he gets the victory. He is the men's champion. He did that pretty easily in the final. He beat Amir Weintraub in 2 sets pretty easily. Talk about that final matchup.
Yeah, the final was really disappointing because it was really one-sided match won by, as you said, by Dudi Sela. He's in really good shape the last few months, and he had a very, very good practice sessions coming into this tournament. Really prepared himself very, very, very well for this tournament and also for the Australian tournaments coming up next month. And unfortunately, Amir Weintraub, he went through an operation about 6 weeks ago, and he didn't really, he recovered and he physically is feeling great, but he hardly played any matches and didn't practice as much as Dudi during that time, so he was far from his best shape. So that's why the match was really one-sided and, not taking anything from Dudi, who played a great match. Amir really didn't really come back yet to the shape that he showed during last year.
Amir talked about that. The surgery really had a hampering effect on him. He hopes next year that he will win. Dudi, of course, is ranked 73rd in the world. And as I mentioned, you at one point were ranked 22 in the world. So does he ever come to you for advice about how to handle the spotlight and how to play tennis at a very high level?
Yeah, we talk a lot about this, about the pressure of being up there, and I try to give him, a lot of advice and from my experience, and he's a good listener, although he's an individualist, and he's doing things in his own way, and he's very, very talented, and I'm sure that he's 27, 28 years old, and that's the age that players are really almost getting into their peak. So I think he will have a great year coming up.
And let's go to the women's championship. Of course, Yulia Glasgow, she was able to win more of an exciting match against Ofri Lankry. Talk about that, because Shachar Per didn't play in the tournament the first time in years. So Yulia was the favorite to win in the women's. So talk about the women's side of the tennis tournament.
Yeah, Yulia didn't really have, because of the absence of Shachar, who was injured and couldn't take part of the tournament. In the tournament, Yulia had an easy way into the finals. In the finals, she played Ofri, who is really retired from tennis and just playing and coaching. And it was a very nice, exciting match. Not a high level, and Yulia was actually under a lot of pressure, because she was the only one that had anything to lose. But eventually she won the first set in a close set, and then just run through the match. So for Yulia, it's another great win and another great championship, and she's also in a good shape. Had a very good year, especially the last few months, and doing well at the US Open. And I'm sure she will. Now she's in the top 100. She will be in all the Grand Slams next year. And I'm sure she will have a great year coming up also.
All right, last question we have for you. This was a very exciting crowd that came out to watch this championship. You had over 1,000 spectators in Rana Sharon, and they were very boisterous, very loud. Talk about that atmosphere of the tournament on Friday.
Yeah, the atmosphere was great. The crowd came. We had really a very good site, very well built with... everything was nice around the tennis court. It was also on live TV, and the crowd likes to see the Israeli top players. They come out and they see the good matches. They like to see them. They hardly see them during the year. So this was a good chance for the crowd to see the top players, and they really came and cheered, and I'm sure they had a good time.
All right. Mr. Shlomo Glickstein, thank you for being on Lewis Live and TLV1. Congratulations on you do such a great job with Israeli tennis. We look forward to big and bright things on the horizon. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Coming up next will be Adam Davis talking about Maccabi Tel Aviv. This is Louis Live on TLV1.
המנהל הפחיד אותי ביסודי כשזחלתי עמידה הפחידה אותי כי חששתי מנפילה הפחיד אותי מפחיד אותי מפחיד אותי הפחיד אותי היה קשה שבר לי שן בינה סקסיסטית אחת הפחידה אותי חששתי להתאהב לאבד שליטה מפיקים הפחידו אותי תקעו לי סכין בגב הפחיד אותי מפחיד אותי הפחיד אותי מפחיד אותי היום יש דבר מפחיד יותר מאיים יותר גורם לי חרדה היום רק אני מפחיד אותי רק אני מפחיד אותי רק אני מפחיד אותי רק אני מפחיד אותי
Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. Great music there. That was composed and created by Tomer Gersherman, who makes all the music on my shows. So thank you to Tomer. And, of course, thank you to Tammy Goldenberg, who is producing with me in studio today, or tonight, I should say. We have a lot of sports to talk about. Now, Maccabi Tel Aviv, despite their horrific regular season in the Israel League, they have 4 losses. It's their worst start in, I don't know, about 150 years. Despite all that, they got into the Euro League first top 16 round because the EuroLeague regular season ended a couple of days ago. Here now to talk about the upcoming games for Maccabi Tel Aviv in the Euro playoff situation is my good friend and from Medabrin Communications, Adam Davis. Adam, how you doing out there?
How are you? Ari, how's it going?
It's going great. Now, this team, Maccabi Tel Aviv, has done and been through a lot of drama. You have the David Blue timeout, blowout situation. You have certain guys that are not getting it done. Sean James is not getting it done. The Israelis want to play more. Now they're going into the European playoff situation, and the first game they're going to have to play is either January 2nd, January 3rd against Galatasaray. And for those listening from Galatasaray, I apologize for butchering your country's name, but tell us about that team and give us a preview of that ball club.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's been a rough start at home for Tel Aviv, and they're hoping for better results in the EuroLeague, but it's a tough start to the round of 16 for them. Galatasaray is a really good team. I think I pronounced that correctly.
It's all good. We're going to count it.
And they have a lot of NBA experience on their team, so it's either a wake-up call for Tel Aviv or a chance for them to show that what's happening in Tel Aviv or in Israel is different than what happens on the EuroLeague stage.
All right. Can you give us a little more detail about the NBA experience?
Yeah, I mean, you just look at Galatasaray's roster. They got, Carlos Arroyo played for the Miami Heat for a number of years and a number of other teams in the NBA.
Good player.
You have Pops Mensah Bosu, who played in the NBA and also played in the Olympics last year in London for United Kingdom. So, they have some serious skill on their team. Plus, got a bunch of other guys on their team who know what they're doing. And together with Arroyo and Pops, they're going to win games.
I got to tell you, Adam, there's a few years ago that Pops played against Omri Caspi, was a national team, and they had a one-on-one battle. It was amazing, and Omri Caspi shot threes, and Pops dunked on Omri so loud I can still hear the rim shake. So that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a tough game for Maccabi Tel Aviv. Again, that's either January 2nd or 3rd. It's away, and those European crowds can be very nasty, and they can be very scary to play in and intimidating, correct?
Yeah, I mean, they love their sports. They, for fans in Turkey of Galatasaray, they have a good soccer team. They have a good basketball team. That they're going to let the Maccabi team hear it when they go there. So hopefully the Maccabi Tel Aviv will be able to handle it and win that game.
There's a lot of pressure, too, because David Blatt's job has been on the line. There was talking about him, if they lost another game against the Israeli teams, he was going to be fired. And I imagine if they have a poor showing in this European round of 16 that he could be fired, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's go to the second game. This is Lokomotiv Cuban. Now, that game is in Tel Aviv, January 9th. Let's get a preview of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you were just saying, the coach could have his job on the line a little bit, and Galatasaray is going to be a tough matchup, but the Maccabi Tel Aviv is really lucking out with this second game against Lokomotiv. They beat them already twice during their EuroLeague regular season, didn't really seem to have a problem with them. They were within their own group, the same group as Tel Aviv, and they won both those games. So game 2 against Lokomotiv should be a fairly easy task for Maccabi once again. They know this team already. They have experience against them, and I think, depending on what happens against in game 1, they should be ready to come out hungry against Lokomotiv.
Do you think, Adam, it's possible the strategy might be to play the first game? I don't know if this is the best equivalent, but Game 7 of the NBA Finals, all hands on deck, because you can rest on January 9th against Lokomotiv Cuban.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, even Game 3 against Zalgiris, it's also a team that they know that they should be fairly certain that they can have a good showing against. So, you might say that that's a good strategy, but I think, Game 1 in the round of 16, you don't want to have any issues where people start to think that you falter, the fans, the media. They're going to want to go out and play hard Game 1 and then, make it 2 in a row against Lokomotiv because they're a team that they, should be able to beat.
Now, as far as other teams and other players that they'll be facing, Maccabi Tel Aviv is going to square off against Real Madrid, who has Rudy Fernandez, Nikola Mitorik, and companies. Talk about Rudy Fernandez. He's a nice young ball player.
Yeah, I mean, he's also had some NBA experience. He played a lot in the Olympics as well, just like Pops. These guys know what they're doing, and the fact of the matter is they played against talent in the NBA, but they also know the Euro game. And he's got plenty of experience helping Real Madrid be a very solid team. And he's got experience playing for the Spain's national team, which is filled with future NBA Hall of Famers. So that's not going to be an easy challenge for Maccabi once they play against Real Madrid.
Now, an interesting game coming up. This is Game 7. This is February 20th or 21st, CSKA. Now, they'll be away, but I point that out to you because that's Moscow. Jeremy Pargo is on that team. Pargo used to play for Maccabi Tel Aviv, also beat Maccabi Tel Aviv back when he was with Galil Gilboa back in 2010, has some NBA experience. So what do you think would that like for Pargo to play against his former team and to play against the team he beat in the title game in 2010?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great, especially for all these Israeli exports, if you want to call it that, or, playing in the EuroLeague right now. They want to prove to their hometown that that they can get out there, they can be stars, and they're not just going to be confined to Israel's National League. And it's going to be a great opportunity for him to stick it a little bit to Maccabi Tel Aviv. And like CSKA Moscow is a very strong team. They have been in the EuroLeague for a number of years. Sometimes Maccabi has trouble with them. So, he's going to have that extra incentive to put a few in the bucket, hopefully against his, stick it to Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Also, it's interesting with this team, Maccabi Tel Aviv team, that Lior Eliyahu was their captain. He's now with the Hapoel Yerushalayim, so he won't be a part of this squad. How much do you think they're going to miss their former captain, Lior Eliyahu, going into this European tournament?
I think they're going to miss him immensely. Lior Eliyahu is one of the biggest names coming out of Israeli basketball in recent memory, and to have him on your squad for so long and then to be without him for this tournament, they're definitely going to feel it. He's a great shooter. He's a great presence inside in the paint as well. But you can't look at it that way. They're in the round of 16 right now. They got a big game coming up in game one, and they're going to have to just use what they got. They still have the talent to get it done, that's for sure.
I like that approach, Adam, because you can't worry about what you don't have. You have to worry about what you do have, and they have a team on the floor that can compete. So, Adam, our plan is that throughout this European tournament, we'll have you on. We'll get updates. We discussed the first 3 games, so that takes us up to January 17th. First 3 games, give us your prediction. What will happen with Maccabi Tel Aviv?
I think they're going to come out of it 2-1. We'll put it that way. I think Galatasaray is going to be a tough test for them. Maccabi's in the round of 16, but I think they also didn't have such a difficult group to get to this point. So I think we could see them lose in a close game on game 1, but then bounce back for 2 straight wins after that one. So that's what I'm going with, 2-1.
All right, Adam, great stuff. I'm Adam Davis from Adabri Communications here on Lewis Live on TLV1. We will be in touch. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks, little Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball for you. We're going to take a little musical interlude, and on the other side, Jeremy Glickman from your Tel Aviv Pioneers. This is Lewis Live on TLV1.
ניסית לשנות את הרקע אני יודע זה מוכר וכמה מנוכר אני ועדיין נשמע לי קורא לה אלה אני שוב קורא לה אלה אני שוב קורא לה אלה למרות מה שעשיתי אני יודע שנסעת בהודו הסתובבת והשנת מזרח אני יודע שאמרת בן זונה בוגד כן בטח אני יודע זה מוכר וכמה מנוכר אני ועדיין
Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. As always, if you want to follow the station on Twitter, you can do so at TLV1.fm. If you want to email me personally, that's arilouisshow@hotmail.com, ARILOUISSHOW@hotmail.com. Had a great show so far, first half of the program. Going into our second half, we have a very special guest. There was a huge game on Friday, which we previewed on last week's show, and a gentleman who played in the game on Friday from your Tel Aviv Pioneers, Jeremy Glickman. Jeremy, welcome to Louis Live.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's good to have you on. Before we talk about Friday's war, now those were your words, not mine, just in case anyone complains. I want to get a little bit background bio about yourself. You came to Israel when you were 18 years old and served in a combat unit for 18 months, and you were a magist. What exactly is a magist? Tell our listeners.
Magist is the guy who's in charge of the, it's an M60. It's the FN version of the M60. It's the gun Rambo held. It was fun.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun always. Now, when you're the guy that's got you're holding the gun, charge of the gun, what are you doing with the gun?
Yeah, it's the big billy goat. It's with me all the time under my bed or, targil, any type of exercise. You got
to pick it up and carry the thing.
Yeah, with all of its bullets.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. All right, and also, says in the bio you wear a negevest, and it's salaf. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but what are those?
Okay, so a Negev is a modified M4/M16 type gun. It's modified so it can shoot out of a barrel or out of a chain, but it's essentially very similar to an M16.
Okay, so you have all this Army experience. Now you finish the Army, and what do you do now? You find football. How did you find out about the league? And I understand that you really didn't have much football experience going in to the IFL.
No, just really the flag football league and watching football my whole life. Never really thought I would play tackle just because going to Jewish schools, we don't really have tackle football in our arsenal.
Right.
So yeah, basically I lived in Givat Shmuel, which is a neighborhood near Bnei Brak, and one of the guys on the Pioneers, the team that I play for, kept asking me if I wanted to play football, and finally I decided to show up to a practice.
Now, a lot of people that are in the league did Army service, and a lot of people feel like they get some of the camaraderie, they get what they miss from the Army, they find it in football. Do you feel the same way?
Not really. I find I wrestled in high school for 4 years, so I find that I get a lot of the camaraderie from that, but not the same from when I was in the Army, from what I remember.
Okay, fair enough. So here you are with the Tel Aviv Pioneers. First season, you played offensive line. You started on the offensive line. Now you play for half the season, and you played defense now. Talk about compare those positions, because remember, everyone listening, this is a guy who's new to football, and every little thing's going to matter all the more so. So you played both offense, defense. Talk about that.
I'd tell you the truth. Offensive line is much harder. Even though it looks like you're just standing there and blocking, it's much more difficult to know. You got to memorize a lot more plays. I respect a lot of respect for all the guys who can go out, because there's probably the least amount of glory in offensive line, but it's one of the hardest jobs.
That's right.
So I did it for a while, and my coach at the time, Coach Falvey, decided to put me on defense because I was faster than the average O-lineman. And I've been happy there ever since. I love tackling, so it's a lot of fun to be on defensive line.
Of course, both lines, defensive line, offensive line, you mentioned offensive line does get a lot of the glory, but Jeremy, as we all know, that's where the game is truly won and lost, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. They say, like, you have one running back, one wide receiver that's played college ball in America, and he's here. He's not going to win the game. Your good quarterback's not going to win the game. You need a team, and you get most camaraderie on the line, just because it's four guys have to work together, or you're not going to make any progress.
We're speaking with Jeremy Glickman of the Tel Aviv Pioneers. Now, I want to talk about practices, what those are like, because I understand those are very stressful and intense, but it still was not the same as what you did in the Army as far as physically, correct?
No, it's different. The idea behind the Army, for me at least, they broke me down, like, to what they needed and then told me what to do from there. It's a lot different in football. You get to use a lot of your previous tools, especially me coming from wrestling and coming from, playing all sorts of sports in America, not really football, but you get to take all of that, and it all plays into how you play football, and your aggression comes into that. In the Army, you were kind of just supposed to be a soldier and do what you're told, and not really. I don't know. It's a different type of teamwork.
Are you saying maybe football? There's a little more creativity, a little more personality. You could kind of more think for yourself. While in the Army, they're telling you what to think. Is it more like that?
Yeah, they're telling you exactly what to think, telling you what to do.
All right. Now let's get to the game on Friday, because that was against your crosstown rivals, if you will, not the Tel Aviv Sabres, but the Ron Hasharon Hammers. We had on two people on last week's show to talk about that game, your head coach and, of course, Avi Trey, who I'm sure is listening as well, good friend of yours. And Avi Trey was ejected in that game for a little scuffling. So tell us about that.
Honestly, he's a great running back or wide receiver. I'm not really sure he plays. He was all over the place. He was playing defense and offense and special teams. He's a fast guy. He's got all the tools to be a great football player. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think he got kicked out for scuffling. I know that there was a guy on our team who got kicked out also, and the only part of the fighting that he actually took part in was trying to pull guys from our team off. He had nothing to do. He was surprised when he got kicked off because he was on the other side of the field. Now, from my understanding, Avi got kicked out because it was like his third or fourth time doing something that was unsportsmanlike or being involved. Because he was. I know that as being a lineman, he was in our faces. Every time he'd make a big tackle, he was in that guy's face. And then I know he was warned by the referees, who do as best a job that they can do, making sure people don't take it too far. But I think that was just kind of a last straw type thing.
All right, so that's your side of the story, and I'm sure Avi Trey will write to me on Facebook and explain his side. I'm sure he's listening. Now, that game you guys came up short, but as we talked about, there was ejections, fighting. Is there bad blood between your team and the Hammers?
From what I understand, there is some bad blood. I know that Tal Senior, one of our linemen, who we actually get along with very well, wasn't getting along so well with the coaching staff or with some of the players. I know that he's still on good terms with a lot of them because he was speaking to them very, friendly.
And, of course, he's a former Hammers player. He's a former Hammers player.
Right, he's a former Hammers player. I know that he was made an honorary captain for the game, along with Koren Shemesh, one of our linebackers. And, there's definitely some bad blood. Also, I think that our teams are very closely matched. We like to play football the same way. We hit hard, and, we're very dynamic. We like to do a lot. Kol HaKavod, with all respect to their defense and our defense, to hold, I don't know. They went for negative rushing yards. They had some great passing plays, but they ran for great rushing yards. Our defense was impeccable, and they held our offense to no scores in the second half. The defense outscored them in the second half.
All right, so
very
very
job
intense
on everyone's defense.
A very intense defensive game, which I like to see. I like those type of games, and you guys could see them later on in the road in the playoffs, perhaps. What can you take from this game that you would try to pump into your team and get the W next time?
I think we got to work. I don't want to take any credit away from our offense because I know how intense of a game it was for them. But we lost 3 touchdowns on special teams. 2 just set up the offense, the Hammers offense on the 5 or the 1. Or we set our own offense up and special teams on the 1 yard line. They got a safety. They ran back the first kickoff return. They ran back Avi. Avi ran back for a touchdown, and the guy who played the coverage for the sideline was I don't know, maybe he was 120 pounds. Fresh guy who wasn't sure how to play. He got knocked out of bounds, and it just opened the sideline way up. So we got to work a lot on our special teams, just like everything else. And we're going to keep hitting, and that's how we play football. All
right, Jeremy, good stuff. Jeremy Glickman from your Tel Aviv Pioneers. Thank you for being on Louis Live on TLV1.
My pleasure, man. Have a good one.
All right, folks, short break. On the other side, Amit Kurtz. This is Louis Live on TLV1. Back here on Louis Live on TLV1. Thanks again to Jeremy Glickman from the Tel Aviv Pioneers. We're going to switch gears and talk Israel baseball with Amit Kurtz. Amit, welcome to Louis Live on TLV1.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Now, you do a little everything. You play, you coach. I want first for you to talk about playing in the Premier League. That's obviously a huge deal here in Israel. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, definitely. The Premier League is the marquee league that we have here in Israel. It's probably the highest level played in Israel. I've been playing in the Premier League probably since I've been 17 years old. I play for the Tel Aviv Comrades. And it's a great time. I mean, we have a very competitive league, and this season I think probably was the most competitive. I think it gets better and better every year, and I see a bright future for this league.
Now, tell us a bit about who comprises the league. Are these guys that have played high school baseball, college baseball, new guys? Tell us a bit about who is in the league playing.
Right, I think we have it's a big mix of people. I mean, it's a different people from different backgrounds. Most of the people I would say are around high school level, but we do have a lot of people who've played college ball in the past. Some of you even played professional ball. We have a bunch of people who played in the IBM, the Israel Baseball League, when it wasn't existent in Israel, including myself. So there's a wide variety of people and wide variety of levels. But I would say it goes all the way from high school all the way to semi-pro or even pro level.
All right, and I want you to talk about the upcoming national team season. Give us a bit of a preview about that.
Yeah, so we got a very exciting national team program coming up because the senior national team is actually going to go abroad and play in Slovenia in the upcoming European qualifiers in the C pool. And we're really hoping and we're pretty sure that we have a very fair and good chance to win that qualifiers round and qualify for the B pool for next year. In the younger players division, the 14 to 16-year-olds, I'm going to be the head coach of the 14 to 16-year-old national team. We're going to the Pony tournament in Prague in April. We are facing very tough competition, but we hope to repeat our historical achievements from last year when we finished second place.
Yeah, talk about that. That was a huge deal. I mean, what did that mean to you? I know that so much work has gone in putting Israel baseball at a whole other level and then the second place achievement. I mean, talk about the emotions you felt when that occurred.
Right, definitely. I mean, we've been putting a lot of hard work in raising a younger generation of baseball here in Israel. And, seeing the fruits of that hard work, the fruits of labor, it's a great achievement and it's a great chance to see it. I think we also continued showing it during the Maccabi tournament when we historically beat the U.S. for the first time. So I actually think that we're seeing a new generation of Israel baseball players coming up, and we're going to see a bright future of Israel baseball in Israel.
Now, I want to talk to you about the scout from the Cincinnati Reds that came to the All-Star game. That was a few weeks ago. And tell us a bit about that experience, because that was a very big deal. You have a scout from a Major League ball club checking out Israel talent here in Israel. So tell us a bit about that experience.
Yes, definitely. We had the chance to Rex De La Rosa, the Cincinnati Red Scout, who's usually in charge of the California region, got the opportunity and was sent here by the Cincinnati Reds to look at some of the talent we have. I think he was very impressed on the level of talent that we have. And, right now, it's very hard to advance to the level of professional baseball, but he definitely saw a lot of bright spots and potential players maybe in a few years down the line to get more and more involved in American baseball and perhaps also professional side of it.
Now, do you see more and more scouts coming from different ball clubs to check out Israel baseball? Is that a goal of the IAB?
I mean, in general, the goal of the IAB is just to develop better and more professional baseball players. Obviously, we would like to feed in the future towards professional baseball on a consistent basis. But since we are part of Europe, then most of our tryouts and the way our players are viewed by scouts is through the European system. So a lot of our players basically go to Europe and try out in Europe and play in European tournaments, and that's the way most of them are scouted. So in general, no, it's not a goal of the IAB, but yes, it's part of the greater process of the IAB. We definitely want to see our kids and our players out there playing at the professional level and playing at college level, because that's the way to increase baseball in Israel.
We're speaking with Amit Kurtz here on Louis Live on TLV1 from the Israel Association of Baseball. Now, Margot Sugarman, we want to thank her because she set up this interview, and she told me that you're a big part of this IAB. You have a big role in elevating play in Israel, and I know Nate Fish also does as well. Tell us a bit about some of the technical things you do, day-to-day things you do to elevate the level of play.
Right. So first of all, thank you for Margot, I guess, I'll take it as a compliment.
There you go. Of course.
Day-to-day operation, basically for the last 5 years, ever since I was released from the Army, I've been in charge of the national team. As the years progressed, I started with the younger national teams, 13 to 14-year-old. Currently, I work with a 14 to 16-year-old, and also I went all the way up to 16 to 18-year-old. So my day-to-day job are basically running the whole national team. The practices that are involved with that, we practice currently once a week, and with the national team program, and the players also practice another bunch of time with their local team. And as we get closer to tournaments and we accelerate the amount of practices, we get all the way to having maybe 2-3 weeks of practices every day before tournaments. I basically work under Nate. Nate Fish was a great guy. He's the new IAB director, and he's doing a fabulous job in promoting baseball in Israel. So I work with Nate on the professional level on how to execute all of our practice and all our workouts on the best level possible.
All right, now I got to bring this up too. I had to get your opinion on it, and because I broadcast the Maccabi games over the summer. You guys had that thrilling game against Canada that was for the silver. It went 11 innings. Barham pitched a great game, and there was a very controversial play where the Canadian runner came. It looked like he stepped out of the base path. I know you were very upset about that wasn't called. What were your thoughts going back to that play?
Listen, this is baseball. I mean, I really don't like to look at one specific play, and my approach is what I teach and what I believe in is really, baseball game is not won or lost on a single play. It might look like everything goes down to what's that single play, but I think we failed during the game and what we needed to do. I mean, we didn't score enough runs, and that's it. If we score 2-3 runs in the first innings, we win this game easily.
Right.
My players gave a great effort. They put up, I think, in my eyes, a tremendous tournament. I think we've, in the end result, I don't think we've been where we wanted to. Our end result, we definitely wanted to be ranked first or second in this tournament. So the end result wasn't there, but I think the process, we've been able to see a great improvement. Personally, I was assistant coach 4 years ago, and I played at a Maccabi 8 years ago. So I can definitely say this was the best team by far that has played at a Maccabi. So I'm very proud of my players, and I think we did a very, very good job.
I'm very happy you said that because I can't stand when people point to one play and say that's why they lost. It's a whole game. A lot of things going on. So very well said. And the last thing we'll leave you is I understand you're becoming a lawyer. So Mazal Tov to you on that. I'm sure that will. I don't know how that'll help you with baseball. I mean, but
sadly it won't. It'll probably stop my baseball career.
Okay. So, but in any case, hey. It's another lawyer in the world, another Jewish lawyer, so Mazal Tov to you.
I promise my kids will be IAB products in the future.
Okay, all right. So we'll keep your word to that, and we have it recorded. All right, Amit. Great stuff. Thanks for being on Louis Live. We'll be in touch. Be well.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a good night.
All right. All right, folks, we'll take a little break. On the other side, we'll talk a little Israel Lacrosse. This is Louis Live on TLV1. Back here on Louis Live on TLV1, we've had a great show so far. Shlomo Glickstein, Adam Damus, Jeremy Glickman, and Amit Kurtz. And now we're going to wrap up the program, talk a little Israel lacrosse with good friend of the program, Mr. Noah Knopf. Noah, how you doing out there?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great, and let's get right into it. You're here for a week at the Wingate Institute. You're a member of the U19 National Program. Tell us a bit about that.
Sure. So basically, it's basically just a U19 team of mostly American kids from all over the states pretty much. And a lot of the kids came from this program called the Maccabee Games, which was sort of a tournament between all of the regions of all Jewish kids, and it was in California over the summer. So basically, from that tournament and from other kids throughout the country, they drew like sort of a select team of the best Jewish kids to come and compete in Poland on Sunday against some men's national teams.
All right, now you guys will be in Warsaw on Sunday, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
I have to ask you this. I don't know if you thought about this a lot, but I mean, you're going to a place that 65 years ago was filled with Nazis, killing Jews, and here you are going representing Israel and lacrosse. I mean, have you thought about that at all? What would that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about that too much, to be honest. But yeah, definitely a special opportunity to come and be able to do something fun like that in a place with so much history.
All right, now I understand the players. Tell me a bit about this, because this is interesting. Not all sports do this. There's a touring of the country, and then you play as loaners. There's people that on other clubs, clubs loan them out with the Tanya Ashkelon. Tell us a bit about that.
Sure. So one of the great things about this program is that we have the opportunity to sort of grow the game out here. So we're able to not only play internationally against other national teams, but we're able to play domestically here in Israel and sort of grow the game in front of a good audience who are eager to sort of see what we have to offer and learn from us. So yeah, playing for these other teams is sort of our opportunity to do that and play here in Israel.
This is basically a great opportunity for more exposure, right? This is the world stage. It's Warsaw, Poland. You're going to meet other players. The other players might not even know that Israel has a lacrosse team. And here you are. If you guys kick butt, do well, they'll remember us, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we're also a U19 team going to play fully grown men in their national teams, and we're hoping to kind of kick butt over there. All
right. That's no simple task, but I like that. That's a good challenge. Now, you're one of the younger players on the team. You're 16 years old. So what is that like? Even though it's a U19 team, you're one of the younger guys. Do they tease you, harass you, or do they, hey, you're one of us?
Yeah, it's definitely a good group of guys. Everyone was welcoming from the moment we got to JFK to fly over here. Everyone's pretty tight and close with one another. So it's been a good experience so far.
Now, you're currently attending high school at the Fieldstone School. Do they have much of a lacrosse program, or did you have to play in a different format?
Yeah, so it's my second year there. On freshman year, I made varsity, and then this year as a sophomore, I'm captain of our team. So it's a good program. And then I also play in Long Island for a team called the Express, which is a pretty strong group of kids. And we have the opportunity to go out there and play against some pretty competitive teams at some big tournaments, which is also fun. So it's sort of two different settings, but both are definitely rewarding.
All right, and you were named first team all-conference as a freshman. That's a pretty big honor. Most players don't get that, and you got it as a freshman. What did that honor mean to you?
Yeah, that was a huge honor. Definitely exciting. I felt like I had a good season, and it was nice to be rewarded for that a little bit.
It's interesting because lacrosse has only been around Israel a few years, and it's growing and growing and growing. Now you're having a U19 and traveling to Warsaw and Poland, and you're a part about that. Can we get you to make Aliyah, Noah, in a couple of years, and then you could play here for the national team all the time?
I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it too much, but it's certainly a possibility, especially the way that lacrosse is growing not only in America, but also here and all over the world. It's definitely an exciting opportunity.
What do you think also about the fact that in America, lacrosse is mostly an East Coast sport. They play a little bit in California. And here in Israel, it's becoming really a top 5, top 10 sport, and you're a part about that. So is Israel advancing maybe a little bit differently than the United States in the fact that the whole country plays it?
Yeah, definitely. And not only is it sort of geographically split in America, but there's sort of a socioeconomic division in who plays lacrosse and who doesn't. But the fact that everybody plays it in Israel is really something great, and I think that's something that will make the sport here very, very good in the future.
All right, so once again, folks, international tournament is going to be in Warsaw. It's coming up Sunday, and Noah will be a part about that. You'll be playing against grown men. And are you intimidated? I know we brought this up already, but, I mean, you're playing against adults. Does that scare you, or are you just ready for the challenge?
No, we're ready for the challenge. Hoping to do well. Should be good.
How can people find out more about the event, Noah, if they want to follow up, look into it, get information? Where can they go?
Sure. I think that you can check out our website. I'm not sure what it's called, but you can look up.
The website, I have it right here, is it's israellacrosse.co.il. People can check that out. You can also write Israel Lacrosse in Facebook, find out more information. And, I look forward to one day. Hopefully TLV1 could broadcast a game in Warsaw one day of Israel Lacrosse. That would be fun, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
So we'll look forward to that. Lacrosse keeps growing, and you're a side of that you came here to represent Israel in Warsaw for Israel Lacrosse. Noah, thank you so much for being on Louis Live. Good luck to you. We'll follow up and see how you guys did, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Be well. And also thanks to Scotty Neese for setting up this interview as well. So thanks to Scott. All right, be well, Noah. All right, folks, that is the end of our program. We appreciate everyone listening in. A couple more reminders. If you want to follow the station on Twitter, you can do so at tlv1.fm. And if you want to email me personally, that's arilouisshow@hotmail.com, arilouisshow@hotmail.com. Quick plug for Israel Sports Radio YouTube channel. Check it out. We put up a new video of Jason Miller from MTV's Bully Beatdown. Pete Rose is on there, Kurt Schilling, all that good stuff. So type in Israel Sports Radio on YouTube. Want to thank our guests who came on the program. First, we had on Shlomo Glickstein, the CEO of Israeli Tennis Association. Also had an illustrious career playing tennis for Israel. One time was ranked 22nd in the world, played Bjorn Borg, and played in Wimbledon. We then switched gears and talked Maccabi Tel Aviv with Adam Davis. Of course, the first round of 16 begins January 2nd or January 3rd. Adam thinks they will go 2-1 in their first 3 games. We then spoke with Jeremy Glickman of the Tel Aviv Pioneers, talking about how Army is a little bit different than football. Army, they break you down and build you back up. Football, you have a little more creativity and innovation. And the Pioneers were not victorious on Friday, but it was a great game nonetheless. We look forward to more great games from the IFL in the future. We then spoke Israel baseball with Amit Kurtz, who's becoming a lawyer, another Jewish lawyer here in Israel. So congratulations to him on that. Of course, there was a scout for the Cincinnati Reds a few weeks ago, so it's going in the right direction. And then we ended the show from Israel Lacrosse, Noah Knopf, who is representing the U19 Israeli team in Warsaw this Sunday, playing against grown men. We'll see how he does. As always, folks, stay tuned for a lot of great programming, a lot of great stuff. But that's it for tonight. God bless, and good night.